Welcome to this lecture, JavaScript Essential required for React. In this, we are going to understand what is optional chaining and what is the purpose of using this optional chaining operator. So this is the operator we will be writing question mark dot. Nowadays, when you are getting data from third-party libraries or if you want to display data from API, for safer side, we will be using this operator so that we will not be getting any error. Practically, when we see this, you will be having clear understanding. But let us understand when this operator was introduced. This is also a part of ECMAScript 2020, and in last lecture, we have understood nullish coalescing operator, and that was also introduced in ECMAScript 2020, that is ES11. And why it is used? It is used to simplify the process of accessing properties or calling methods on potentially null or undefined values. Practically, we will understand. Before, when this operator was not introduced, when we tried to access the properties which are not present, then we were getting this type error. First, let us see how we will get type error, and then using this operator, optional chaining operator, we will resolve that error. So I have pasted my entire object. Inside that, I have added these properties. First, let us understand this operator. Then we will be working with this object. Here, let me just create one simple variable. I will be writing person. And for this person, I am having two properties. That is name. I will be writing my name. And second, I will just write here address. Address, I am just going to write here null. Which means I am not having any address for this person. Directly, I have assigned the value as null. Now, if I just print here person, save it, I will be getting this entire object for person. Now, if I want to access name and address, I just have to write here dot name. I will be getting the name. And finally, if I just access address, then I will be getting null. But now I am not aware whenever I am accessing this kind of objects from the API, I am not aware that this address is undefined or this address is null. Directly, what I am doing from this address, I am just trying to access this city property. Now, if I save this, I will be getting this type error. Cannot read properties of null reading, that is city. Why? Because this value is null now. As soon as I give null, it is trying to access city from null. It is simply like this person. I will be getting null, and from there I am trying to access this city. As soon as I get null, this entire thing becomes null. So from null, I cannot access this city property. So I will be getting this type error. So in this kind of situation, what we will be doing? We will be using this optional chaining operator. Let me come in this. I will copy, paste it here. So instead of writing like this, we will just write our question mark dot. So this is nothing but it is optional chaining operator, and it is very precise way of handling this kind of situation. Instead of directly displaying this error, now if I save this, I will be getting the result as undefined. It will not be throwing any error. Instead, it will just display undefined because we are not having city inside this person object. Now inside this, let me just create city. City, I will give Mumbai. Save it. Now you can see I got the result Mumbai. If I am having data, then I will be getting that result. If I am not having, and directly I am trying to access that property from null, then I will be getting type error. But using this optional chaining operator, we are preventing that error. Instead, we are just displaying defined. Let me just do Control Z and I will just assign it to null. This is not only limited here. we can also access methods from this object. I will be writing one method. I will write here get address. For this, I'm just going to assign this function. Inside this, let me just return null. I'm not going to return anything. This function is just going to return null. Now what I will do, I will just come down. Person, I will be accessing this get address. And from that, I'm just trying to access the city. Save it. Again, I will be getting this type error. But if I just write here optional chaining operator, then I will be getting undefined. So instead of directly displaying the error, we can display undefined. And accordingly, we can check the condition and we can display our result. This is only to explain you, but this operator is used in complex object structure because most of the time you will not be aware what properties and methods are available inside the object whenever you are accessing data from third-party libraries. So now let us use this operator in our object. So in this object, now what I will do, I am having cartoon data. Using this object destructuring, I have already accessed that object. Inside that, I am having reviews, I am having movie ratings, and finally, I am having OTT ratings. Now, what I want to do, I just want to add number of feedbacks from movie ratings as well as from OTT ratings. Here I am having some value and here also I am having some value. Now, I just want to add both of this. So, what I will be doing, I will just create one simple function and function name, let me just write here feedback count. Inside this, I will just pass this cartoon review as its parameter. You can give any name. Now what I will do, I will just access this properties from this cartoon review. For that, I will be creating one variable. I will just write here movie feedback. How we will access? First, I am going to write my object dot. Inside that, we are having this movie ratings. Let me show you. Inside this cartoon review, I am going to access this. Then I am going to access this property number of feedback. I will just print and show you log and I will just write here movie feedback and I will be calling this function copy and here I am just going to paste. Save it. Now you can see I got the result. It's 341 because here I am having 341. Now here for this if I change some value, save it, again I will be getting the result. But while passing this argument, I am just passing my object. But while passing argument, if I change the value here, then I will be getting this reference error because directly I am passing my object inside this argument. Parameter name you can specify anything, but when you are passing this argument, I am just passing my object. So now I am able to access this movie feedback. Comment this out. Below this, I will copy same thing. And here I am just going to write OTT feedback. Cartoon review. Inside that, I have to access this OTT ratings. Then inside that, I have to access this number of feedback. Similarly, if I just log and if I just want to display this OTT feedback, save it, I will be getting this result. And for movie, I got this result. Now what I want, I just want to add both of these values. So directly, I can just return this one. I will write movie feedback plus OTT feedback. And we have already seen about functions. Whenever we are returning something from function, we are getting some value. So that value, whenever we are calling, we have to store inside one variable. Now directly, I'm just going to create one variable. I will just write here total feedback. Directly you can log or else you can assign that value to variable and now you can just print this variable. Save it. I will be getting this result. this plus this, I am able to get this result. Now suppose imagine what happens. You have accessed this entire data from the API and you are performing all this operation, but in that you are not having this entire thing. This entire thing is not present inside that object, but still inside function you have written this logic. Now you can see I got this type error. As soon as I saved, I got type error. Cannot read properties of undefined reading, no feedback. You can see it is telling this property is not present, so I am not able to read. But if you see here, this cartoon review we have, inside that we don't have this OTT ratings. So it will be undefined. So what happens? This entire thing will be undefined. So I am trying to access this number of feedback from this undefined value. So that is the reason it is telling it is not able to read this property. So once it is not there, I will be getting this type error. So how we can prevent this? Again, we can prevent using optional chaining. So again, what we have to do? We just have to write here question mark dot and again question mark dot. Without this optional chaining, what we were doing? Undefined dot number of feedback. So that is the reason we got this type error. So using this optional chaining, what it is happening? It is telling JavaScript to check if this property is existing or not. If it is not existing, we will get undefined. So once we get undefined, using this optional chaining, we will no longer read another properties from that property. Okay, this is very important concept you should understand. But still, you will be facing one issue. Now, as soon as I save, I will be getting the result as not a number. So this is definitely making a sense. Why? Because for this, I am having some number that is 341. But for this, now I got the result as undefined. So number plus undefined, it is not able to add. So I am getting it is not a number. So it is definitely making a sense. Now what you have to do to add this value for this one, if it is undefined, we have to set default value. And how we can do? We can definitely use short circuiting. And here we can use our nullish coalescing operator. Only for null and undefined, we can set default values. If you use OR operator, then also you will be getting the result. Let me show you directly. I will be writing here nullish coalescing and default value, I will just set it to 0. Whenever this is undefined, directly whatever I am having here, that will be displayed. So now number plus 0, I should be getting the result as 341. If I use here OR operator, save it, then also I will be getting the result. You can either use OR operator or you can use nullish coalescing operator, but we have already understood for what all values we can set default value when we use this nullish coalescing operator as well as logical OR operator. So these concepts are very important. If you want to add the properties and that properties are not present, how to set default values, how to use this optional chaining operator, these concepts are very important. Maybe you will be using it widely, but if you're not able to understand or if you're not able to understand the main purpose of using these operators, then you will be stuck and you will not be getting the required result. So you should always understand the concept before implementing any project. So for safer side, whenever you are performing this kind of operation, you can just write question mark before all the properties. I will save it. You will not be having any effect, but still for safer side, you can mention this optional chaining operator. That's all for this lecture. Thank you for watching.